So I want to push back on something that you guys talked about last night on After Dark. It was you two gentlemen and the lovely CJ Moore. You were talking about the best team in college basketball.
Pure point guard, CJ Moore. Pure point guard.
Pure point guard. Can't shoot it.
No, can't shoot it, but he can handle it. Great passer.
Handle the rock. Yeah, sees the floor, understands the game. They call him heady, maybe deceptively athletic. Terrence.
CJ said Auburn and T.O. said Kansas.
And there was a little bit of conversation in there about Houston, and not a single one of you mentioned Gonzaga as the best team in college basketball, and that is something that's baffling.
Did I not?
Right? No, no one mentioned
Gonzaga?
it. No one mentioned it, and you might have
meant to. My bad.
The conversation just never kind of made it there. But for my money, I all due respect to Bruce Pearl, all due respect to Auburn. Kansas is really good. The team that you're about to see, Fanta, I think has some kinks to work out still. They haven't quite hit their ceiling, but I still think that they're still really good. The parity in college basketball should be fun because a lot of these teams in like that top 8 to 10 range, there's not much separation there, and it's because they're all really good as opposed to being like there's not really anyone that's going to be great. But I just don't understand how at this point in the season, right? There's an argument to be made that Gonzaga has the best point guard in college basketball. I don't know how many teams have as effective of a post duo as Graham Ike and Braden Huff when you combine them, right? There's some, but I think that duo right there puts you in the top 5, right? You look at their wings. You got Nolan Hickman, who has been there for 37 years, averages 15 a game, shoots 40% from 3, really solid off-guard role player, good vet, right? You got Caleb Battle, who is coming in as a guy that can go out and get your 25 on any given night. And if you listen to what he's saying, that's kind of accepted what his role is with that team. Ben Gregg is big and spaces the floor. Michael Ajayi can play the 3 or the 4. He spaces the floor. He's a really good athletic ring. Dusty Stromer doesn't miss if you leave him open. And you put all and I'm missing someone there too off the top of my head. I don't have the roster in front of me.
You hit everybody but the manager right there, Rob. You're good. Keep going. You got
it's the balance. It's the fact that they've all been there. It's the fact that they got Mark Few. You know, I think when you look at least when I'm looking at teams, I want to see great point guard play, great 5-man play, and good versatile role-playing wings. And I think you have all of that stuff, plus a guy who's a game changer in battle. I just, in this moment, I think that it's clear that Gonzaga is the best team in college basketball. They beat Baylor by 38. They beat an Arizona State team that looks like they might be a little bit better than people expected, right? Last night, they beat up on a good San Diego State team on the road in Viejas, and they didn't even get out of third gear in that game. I just, right now, if you want to make the argument that they've kind of hit their ceiling right now, like because of there's so much returning talent on that roster, I'll hear it. But I just think right now they are clearly the best team in college basketball. If you put them on a court right now with anybody else on a neutral, I'm picking them to win. Doesn't matter who's on the other side of the floor.
Who's Gonzaga's MTE? Where are they going?
They got UConn in the Garden, which will tell us a lot about
both teams.
But they're not in like they're not in a big
MTE
event. I don't think they just schedule big games.
Yeah.
No, they're going to Atlantis. I think they're in the battle for Atlantis. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, that's right.
They got West Virginia.
Is a great one. They got a really good one this year.
Yeah, the battle for Atlantis.
But they should make the final of that. They, I mean, honestly, I think they'll win that event. They've got West Virginia, who got clobbered by Pittsburgh, by the way.
Yeah.
We might have an honest conversation about Pitt and Coach Capel. You see where they are in KenPom, guys?
Yeah, they're like top 15.
They're top 20.
Yeah.
Yep.
Then they got Indiana or Louisville. I mean, you know, either one of them is an adversary, but Gonzaga is better than both those teams. So the other side of the bracket could be Gonzaga, Arizona in the final there. Honestly, it should be, based on when you look at it, unless Providence and Bryce Hopkins pulled off an upset. But I like Arizona and Gonzaga in Atlantis. But yeah, I mean, what I like about Mark is he schedules. You know, he's not afraid to schedule. And this is, you know, you own a win on opening night. This is impressive of any opening night performance I've ever seen. Then you go to, like, nobody goes to San Diego State, nor alone Gonzaga, but Gonzaga does. They go to Viejas, they win the game. I think what's refreshing about this sport right now is there is a real argument of who is number one. And I say this because I do think 2 weeks from now, I'm going to call my shot right now. And I called it on After Dark last night. So, Rob, I'm going to call it to you right now because I want to foresee this before it happens because, T.O., I know it's going to happen, and I know how Rob's wired, and I know how the nation's wired, so I'm just going to get it out of the way right now. I believe UConn will win the Maui Invitational. I don't think people should be all that shocked when that happens. Here's why. Look at the side of the bracket that they're on. They're going to play Memphis. I like PJ Haggerty. This is a very important MTE for Penny Hardaway. He can't, 1 and 2 is tough, but could end up happening. But you'd really like to get 2. You're not beating UConn, though. You better beat either Michigan State or Colorado. You're probably going to get Colorado in the loser's bracket. Let's face it. You better win that game, Penny. UConn's going to beat Memphis. They're going to beat Michigan State. They're just better than Michigan State. Rob, they're going to make the final of the Maui Invitational. They're going to face either Auburn, Carolina, or Iowa State in all likelihood.
Can we talk about the fact that Auburn and Iowa State is a quarterfinal game in the Maui? That's a top 5 matchup, man. That's ridiculous. What is it? Top 8 now? Where is the one? I don't have the AP. Yeah, I don't have the AP top 25 in front of me, but that is a ridiculous first round game. And guess what? If you win that game, very good chance you end up playing North Carolina in the semifinals for the honor of maybe playing the back-to-back national champions in the championship game. If Auburn goes through and wins those 3 games, just give them the 1 seed now. They're so clearly going to be a 1 seed if they win this.
So that's part of my philosophy with this is, one, UConn could beat any of those teams because they're great and they're a terrific shot-making team. By the way, the soft Maui rims are going to agree with shot makers. Could help Iowa State's offense, T.O. Iowa State at times offensively challenged. Maybe the rims help them out. Certainly will help R.J. Davis. But where I kind of stand, and I'm going to be on the move after I answer this question because the UConn women are coming in. Shout out to Gino Oriema, who's going for the all-time wins record tomorrow night. Where I stand is, though, 1, UConn could be the better team in that game. But 2, T.O., if UConn wins the Maui, people shouldn't be shocked when you reflect on the fact that whoever they face in the final, look at the pathway that team has to get to just to face Connecticut in the Maui final. Remember, Maui's 3 games in as many days. There's no gap day. We saw last year, remember Marquette had to get through Kansas in the semis of the Maui, and then they looked gassed at times against Purdue, and they ended up losing. Purdue was the better team, but it was only a 3-point game. You can get gassed in that Maui final. So, I think what would happen is the winner of the Maui Invitational, we could proclaim them as the best team in the country. And I'm just saying, take a deep breath because I know we're in the overreaction, the reaction clause, but I think UConn wins the Maui Invitational, and then I think we're going to have the discussion, are they the best team in the country?